If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Hello, kitties. This is yours truly, the Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to Slasher Radio.
Welcome to Slasher Radio with those Mikey Bones, Rob Humphrey, and Cass.
Hi.
What's going on, guys? I was gonna call you. I should have did the love. That's what I should have did.
Why are you sighing there, Rob?
That's a little annoying. It's like obnoxious when he does. It's like he's begging for attention.
R's in the chat, buddy.
God damn it! Not those R's. Those my R's. You can't have them. I told you, Cass, last I used to do that for Rob, and he didn't even appreciate it, like it, or anything.
I like it. You sound like the fucking lion. I think I've said this before, but you sound like the lion from Wizard of Oz.
We're not talking about Wizard of Oz again.
That
Yes,
cowardly ass lion.
See, now you get him going.
God.
All right. Oh, God. We're back. Last week, Vincente DeSante. This week, we are back with Dan Allen talking Bambi The Reckoning. The only place to get the video version of this interview is on Patreon. Patreon.com/Slasher Radio. This movie, if we get our way, tomorrow, when this episode airs, there is still going on some chit-chats about the release. I believe this will be out on a regular day. We release on Thursday mornings, Wednesday nights on the Patreon. But Thursday mornings, we release an episode every single week. This movie comes out the 25th, though. But I think we can get away with putting it out on the 24th. So tomorrow, Bambi The Reckoning will be in select theaters, and everybody can go see it. Rob?
Mm-hmm.
You did not make this interview.
I did not.
Cass, you too.
I did not make it, and I was very disappointed to not be there.
Scoozy.
Scoozy.
All right. We don't got to do drink roll call. If you listened to last week, you will know why. So yeah, no drink roll call this week. We do have a mailbag since we did not have one last week. Last week it was a much longer episode. So we figured we'd just hang on to them for this week and run through the whole mailbag. And we'll catch up with you guys on that. This is probably going to be a little bit of a bloated mailbag next week. So either way, we'll catch up on that next week. So yeah, we'll get into the mailbag now. Let's do the mailbag first. We'll kick you to the interview and we'll talk a little bit about Bambi at the end.
You trace the call. It's coming from inside the house.
917-397-KILL. That's 917-397-5455. You can send in text messages, voicemails for the show. You can also, John, sign up for the Patreon and you can leave a message directly on the episode. Yeah, John, you rat bastard.
Kick Ghostface in the dick.
You can leave a comment directly on the episode. It makes it a lot easier for us. A little bit of organization. Are you guys ready for the mail?
I'm never ready for this fucking mailbag.
Born ready.
Hell of a deal.
Last week, Vincente DeSante stopped by to talk Never Hike Alone, and yeah, he brought Jason Voorhees with him. Big, silent, undead mama's boy. Cute. Let's be real. If it were me out there in those woods, there'd be no sequels. But enough about Crystal Lake. It's your turn now. You left voicemails, asked your questions, and I've got the mailbag right here. Dripping with your horror obsessions. Let's dig in and see what kind of mess you left me this week. The first message is from Nate. It was me that nominated High Tension before. I haven't watched it in a long time, but remembered it was a solid movie. Doesn't get talked about too much. Aja's first movie, I think.
Okay. Nate referring to a couple of weeks ago for the Patreon pick, he put up High Tension that didn't win, and he did put it up before. Okay, it was you, Nate.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I would not have been disappointed had it won. It can't be much worse than Slice, right?
Very fair. Yeah, and Nate, my biggest problem was the ending of that movie. And there was stuff in between too that, led me to how I feel about it. But I mean, I could see it, dude. It's not something I think it's an, oh my God, how could you like that movie? I get it. So I hope it wins. I hope it wins. Maybe we could do High Tension one day too, because it's kind of a divisive movie in itself.
Put it on the list, Mikey.
It's on the list already. I put it on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Cass likes this one. That would be an interesting conversation. All right, maybe we'll do High Tension soon. Nate will get a free 99, maybe.
$3.99.
It's a hell of a deal.
I wouldn't know if it's on the list. I don't have access.
Not true.
Oh my God.
Next message.
The next message is from Spyro. Infinity Pool mid? I think you're mid Mikey. Or maybe we call you Middy Bones now. I really enjoyed Infinity Pool, and I want to hear a discussion on it. I really like the themes they get into in it. Peace.
I don't like Middy Bones. I don't like that at all, actually.
Sounds solid to me.
No, I don't like that. Dude, Spyro, I don't know what you want from me, dude. I mean, maybe mid might. I don't remember exactly what I said. I probably called it mid. Sounds like me. But maybe that was a little harsh. I have to watch it again. But Spyro, you have to understand it comes from it was so praised. So it didn't come near that for me. And maybe you're still mad about that. I don't know. But it's fair, dude. Infinity Pool's kind of mid.
It's praised for being brilliant because it's brilliant.
I don't think it's brilliant. Cass, did you see Infinity Pool?
I still haven't seen it yet. Was going to watch it the other night. Passed the fuck out when I was doing so. It's on the list.
You're a terrible Canadian, Cass. How do you not see that movie?
I haven't got around to watching it. And like I said, I tried last week or a couple days ago and passed the fuck out doing so.
That's fair. That's happened to me. I've been trying to watch the same thing for 3 nights now. It's just, we're getting old, man. That's what happens.
I don't know anything about that.
Okay. But yeah, Spyro, I don't know what to tell you, dude. That's how I feel. All right. And I don't like the Middy Bones. I don't like that at all. All right. Rest of the mailbag.
The next message is from IR Chris. Also, Canada. Oh, Canada. Another episode, and you didn't drink the drink I lovingly crafted for you. Workshopping has begun on a new Canada drink. I think it will be called the Moose Knuckle.
Holy shit.
Oh, God.
That is true.
God.
I forgot all about that, but Canada has dodged Chris's drink this entire time.
I was going to do it for him, okay? And I genuinely did forget.
I was going to say, Cass, you're going to learn very quickly. Chris never forgets. Ever.
Well, I like Chris, and hopefully he likes me, and in return he'll craft me up something that I can actually consume. That is store-bought.
I'm going to let you know now. The more you dodge Chris, it's not going to get better. And it's called the Moose Knuckle, maybe. Oh, that sounds horrible.
Good name.
I don't want to drink nothing called a Moose Knuckle.
Mooses.
It sounds like that lady sitting on Vivi's plants. All right. Anyway, the next message.
The next message is from Spyro. Can I call Horror Court, though?
Oh.
Cass, Fun Bag Police. Davidson is in my DMs trying to convince me to say, on podcast, that she is my favorite host.
Oh.
I think that this is against podcast law and should be punished.
Canada.
What?
Wow. These are very serious charges.
Guilty. Guilty. Cass, what the hell, man?
It was a joke, okay? Laugh at it.
That's coercion right there.
Yep.
Trying to coerce poor Spyro. Oi.
Unacceptable.
It's fine.
Everybody knows I'm his favorite.
Oh my God.
I do like Cass Funbag Police Davidson, though. That is...
Oh, God. Yeah, the Pete Davidson joke is still going around. It's a long joke.
Cass got timed out in Spyro's stream for bringing up Pete Davidson.
I mean, that's a solid rule.
Yeah, well, whatever.
He read the message,
Unfair.
started to respond, stopped immediately, and everything he was doing, and you seen him type to time her ass out. But he wasn't having it, dude.
Good for you, Spyro.
What a move. Like a gentleman. Good horror court. Haven't had horror court in a while. Cass, you're going to be found guilty as charged on this one, man.
Quick horror court. Quick and easy.
That's
For
fine.
real.
I got blood on my hands. It's good. All good.
Jesus Christ.
He knows who his favorite host is, and I know
It's me.
too, so I'll doesn't even hesitate.
All right, rest of the mailbag. Damn, man. I can't believe this is the quickest horror court we've ever had. The most open and shut. She didn't even defend herself. She couldn't.
GG easy.
Damn. All right. Next message.
The next message is from last week's Patreon episode, and it's from IR Chris. Canada is going to have to revoke Bonez's Manicotti card.
Wow.
Chris sent another message, and it reads, R, 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 R,
God
R,
damn it.
R.
You happy now?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always happy.
You got yours.
Yeah.
Ours in the chat, baby.
Ours in the chat.
We don't have a chat.
There's a chat on YouTube. I was watching a guy play a game today, and I was chatting with other people. There's a chat.
Rob, were you throwing the Murs in the chat?
No, I didn't do that in there because they don't know what that is.
God.
That's our thing.
But he was live. We are not. That's why he had a chat. We don't have a chat.
We're on YouTube. We got something.
We got comments. We don't got a chat.
Ours in the chat. Smash
Ours
that
in the
like
chat.
button.
God damn it.
Smash those R's in the chat.
Like and subscribe. I know all the YouTube lingo.
The last message is on YouTube from last week's episode, and it's from Tim. R, 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 R.
You happy now?
Yeah. Ours in the chat, baby.
Tim, you've been chicken. I called him annoying last week. This is further proving. He's annoying. He's being annoying.
I'm pretty sure we discovered it was Ben Pigeon.
We did not.
This goes out to the Dummies of Horror podcast. Fuck you!
I feel better.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, if you're listening on YouTube, ours in the chat, smash the like and subscribe buttons, please.
Please do not put ours in our comments. It's not a chat. YouTube, also a good way to get in on the mailbag. All those comments also go up into the mailbag, and they are read by Ghostface. Voicemails are played. We haven't gotten a voicemail really in a while. What's up with that?
Yeah,
Send in those voicemails.
most of the people who would send us a voicemail or a text or whatever are already Patreon members, and maybe they just find it easier to do it there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I respect that. Voicemails are fun, though.
Yeah. They're usually from Greg, and that ain't nothing fun about that.
That's why we need more people to do it. Drown out the Greg. I wasn't ready for my Greg button. I don't even know if this is it. Oh, fucking Stream Deck. All right. We're going to kick you guys over to the interview with Dan Allen talking about Bambi The Reckoning.
Over there, gabagool.
Thanks, Greg. This delay on this damn Stream Deck is so annoying. What was I saying? Now I got thrown off by Greg and Gabagool. Yeah, we'll catch you on the other side of that. God damn it.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams July Summer Sale and get 30% off paints and stains July 18th through the 28th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Hey, Dan, how you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing, Mike?
Good, good. Thank you so much for making time for us. I know it's late for you over there, so I'm sorry for keeping you up.
It's all good. It's all good. I've been on the other side of it as well, because I have a podcast that I run. So we're always being like, would you mind doing very early in the morning? So, yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good.
Tell us about your podcast, though, because I did want to bring that up. Tell everybody about that. Anytime, obviously what we do, I love hearing about other people because it's so hard to find because there's so many. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, for sure. It's called the Young Film Academy podcast. So it's a company that I've done some teaching for in the past. I edit a lot of videos, short films that they sometimes do. And it's sort of designed at introducing younger people into the world of film and what all the different roles are. Because I think when people start off being like, I want to work in film, everyone just wants to be either a director or a cinematographer. And what they don't realize is the wealth of roles and almost like industries within the creative industries. So we speak to editors, we speak to production designers, art directors, but then we've also spoken to art critics and stuff like that. We literally just had on the editor of Empire magazine, which was really cool, because I sort of grew up reading Empire magazine, which I don't know if you have Empire over in the States, but it's sort of the biggest film magazine in the UK for sure. And then we also had Myron Kirstein, who edited Wicked as well, which was really cool. We also had the editor of Dune 1 and 2, which was wicked. So we've had quite a few editors on. We're trying to get a few more directors on, which would be cool. But yeah, it's sort of taking the expertise of people in the industry and then introducing them to younger sort of teenage people that are trying to find their way into the industry. It's quite cool.
Yeah, I thought that was incredible because kind of like you said, I think it's with anything though, but it feels like specifically with movies, people just want to start at the top. Like, okay, I want to do movies. I'm the director. Like, and it just does not work that way. We recently spoke with Vincente DeSanti, who I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Never Hike Alone series. And he went into, it was a very awesome conversation. I love that we could follow up on that with you. What you have to go through to make it to the director chair and the different roles you have to go through and learn all those things. You have a bunch of projects too that obviously before Bambi The Reckoning. What was great for me to see was that they seem to be horror for the most part.
Yeah.
You are a traditional horror fan, I'm assuming?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, because, there is a world of sort of horror tourism, right? Where sort of, I feel like certain filmmakers they don't really love the genre, but obviously it's a commercial genre, which I do understand, and I love really dark stuff. I just love dark, moody stuff. I would say I'm a big horror fan, but I'm also the biggest scaredy cat in the world. I remember watching The Ring and The Grudge, I think, with my mum, but with the sound off, broad daylight, curtains open, just to try and get through it. But I always remember how those movies made me feel, like Lord of the Rings, absolutely terrified. When those ring wraiths, especially Fellowship of the Ring, with the ring wraiths at the top of the tower, I was, I can't remember how old I was, but it wouldn't have been that old, like 8, 9, 10. And I was pooing myself basically. And I just remember thinking like, I want to make other people feel this way, not in like a weird, mean way, but in like I feel so immersed in this story, in this world. And doing stories that are dark to me means you can also build the greatest relief. It means you can challenge your characters in a way that if it's just a drama, you're either going to have to create a story that's incredibly far-fetched, but actually I think people are ready to lose themselves in these fantastical worlds. And if you can do that successfully, then yeah, I don't know, it's just such an immersive cinematic experience inherently. And I'd love to, down the line, apply that to like doing dark, moody sci-fi horror in a way, or dark, moody fantasy, but always through this sort of dark lens with that sort of, is there going to be a jump scare? Is there not? I think that's the real appeal to me. But yeah, I've done comedies as well, but I think they've probably, I think the last comedy I did had still had a vampire in it. Despite my efforts to mix it up, it was I can't help myself, I guess.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's weird that people that creators of the genre such as yourself, or when you get to talk to them, they're like, yeah, I don't really like horror movies. Like, oh, okay. It gives you can tell when someone's a horror fan. If that may sound weird, but you can absolutely tell. And you mentioned
Yeah.
something interesting that I want to get back to. I'm going to try not to jump around too much, but obviously the main thing we're talking about here is Bambi the Reckoning. Can you, just for the listeners, because I see a lot thrown around about it, and even myself, I'm not sure how well of a grasp I have on the whole thing. I think I did pretty good. But the public domain, can you explain that? And I also want to tie it into, some stuff down the line with this, but can you explain what exactly you guys did and what goes around the public domain and grabbing movies from that?
Yeah, for sure. So when books are sort of written, they obviously enter a period of copyright, and it varies country to country, sort of how long that is. But I think the main benchmark is obviously the United States, because that's where a lot of the IP is sort of held up. And certainly, if you're going to make a film internationally, in the English language, you want the American market, right? Because it's such a big market. So I think the copyright is something like 75 years. At least that's certainly what it was. And it has changed over time a little bit, and it depends on the medium. But Scott and Reese, who obviously worked a lot in these sort of movies, a lot of them like straight to VOD films, in sort of this very there's indie, and then there's like indie, which is sort of this really, really lower budget spectrum that these guys were sort of smashing out all these really great fun films on sort of no money.
Yeah.
They obviously became aware that Pooh was going to lose its copyright, because from their perspective, a lot of these films, whether they wanted them to or not, the distributors were marketing them as almost rip-offs of existing movies. So there's a great example of one that wasn't even that long ago, but Five Nights at Freddy's came out, and they had a film called Freddy's Friday, which capitalizes on a weird sense of people being like, oh, maybe that's going to be like that film. I'm sure some people will get them confused and think they actually are the film that they saw the trailer for in the cinema, because the titles are so similar. But when you're an indie, you don't have any star power, you don't have any money, you've got nothing to sell your film on in many ways, because you don't even have the time on set to necessarily construct a really good jump scare, because that takes coverage, that takes shots, that takes the ability to create a space in which a jump scare can happen, with all these different elements working together. So what you do have, though, is the potential to sort of hinge your idea on something that feels familiar, and that's almost your best chance of getting a super, super, super cheap film made, and certainly getting one sold. So that's why you then get films like Three Blind Mice, which obviously it's not. I don't think. Well, the book or the text that that's based on is like so old, so it's obviously out of copyright. But it's such like in the psyche of Western audiences that the moment they see Three Blind Mice, they're like, oh, I get that. I sort of understand a Three Blind Mice horror film, what that would be. And then obviously the search of looking for titles or things that you can hinge your very cheap horror film on, that mean people will actually see it and see a little bit of something in you that you might then be able to get the next step up and get something else made as well, with a bigger budget. That's what the search becomes. It becomes looking for that thing. And that then obviously led these guys to Winnie the Pooh, realizing that was coming out of copyright soon. And they were sort of just the first people to do it. I think they were already working on it before it came out of copyright, because they knew that the moment it did, that's when they could sort of release it. And then, that the rest is history in a way. It just sort of exploded overnight. Well, actually, it wasn't overnight. I saw that months ago or months before, and I remember messaging them being like, guys, this is so cool. Please, can I be involved? Because I just remember it was the right level of like, this will be fun and hilarious and also gory and awesome horror. And they very kindly got me involved in Pooh 2, and I edited that with Reese. And but it was a good sort of 6 months after they announced it that suddenly it then just sort of took off on social media and exploded, and there was this media frenzy. And then obviously off the back of that, here we are with slightly bigger budgets, still not very big compared to normal indie films, but slightly more, that we can start to show people what we can do with more resources. So that's sort of my big picture explanation of how this sort of become what it is and what it means and does for filmmakers, I guess, in the indie scene.
Yeah, and you kind of jumped into it a little bit, but you see Bambi the Reckoning coming up, where you guys will be available to be able to use it. how did that come about for you getting involved? Because you kind of mentioned that with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which obviously we'll get into a little bit later. But was this something specific that you wanted to jump on because it's Bambi, or you just wanted to get involved however you could? Pretty much what came into your mind where you were like, holy shit, I can do a horror Bambi movie?
Basically, I mean, Scott basically messaged me saying that him and Reese were thinking of offering me Bambi, but nothing's confirmed, and we'll speak about it soon because they were already in prep for Pooh 2. They were also in prep for Peter Pan, which Scott knew he was going to direct. So those two, they were going to direct those two films. And I think they lacked the capacity to direct a third film simultaneously as well, because obviously when you're a director, as a producer, you can sort of oversee slightly more projects, but as a director, you've got to really live and breathe that entire film. And I think they realized, that they couldn't do that all by themselves. And because I'd directed a couple of cheaper films for Scott, and I think he knew that whatever budget I was working on, I always sort of found a way to elevate it. So, I originally did a film for him for 10K, but it definitely looked way more like a 100K film. And then I did a 20K film that I think looks like a 200K film, So I think he always knew that I was going to make it feel more expensive than it was. So I think he trusted me to deliver that. So he basically, mentioned that he was thinking, that it might happen. And I immediately was just like, hell yeah. I mean, I didn't know exactly what ones they were working on at the time. I can't remember if I joked about a Dumbo because I remember loving Dumbo when I was younger. And they were definitely toying with it. But yeah, the moment he said that, I mean, I was just like, yes, absolutely. But now let me go away and find an angle for you. By that point, I think there was already a script, but it was very much open to be rewritten, if that makes sense. There was a certain number of redrafts that they were allowed to do, that Reese, the writer, was still on board to do. So there was room for big changes still at this stage. And I basically pitched them this idea of, well, we've been called the childhood killers, and we've been called, we're ruining people's childhood or killing people's childhoods. I was like, why don't we actually make a film about the death of childhood, and make a film that is about loss of innocence and a kid realizing his parents aren't superheroes, and sort of about being a parent, being a child, and sort of losing someone really close to you. So sort of picking on those themes of both Bambi, but also the themes on almost a meta level that these films are about. That's my quite academic answer, I guess. And that's sort of what I pitched to them, and they all really liked it. And then so the dad character, who's not really in the trailer, but he's in the film. He wasn't in the original script, so that was like an addition that was part of our rewrites and stuff to sort of challenge Benji more thematically. Nice.
Yeah. And you mentioned the budget. It's listed as 800,000. I'm not going to ask you to disclose all of your financials or anything, but I'd imagine it's in the ballpark of that, if not right on it. But that, like you said, that's not a lot of money to make a movie, and I think it could arc back as far as like the Friday the 13th and everything, where you can just kind of go in the woods and do some practical effects and get it over with. But we're in 2025, and there's kind of a standard now for the average moviegoer, and you're kind of gifted and cursed with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, both films, raising that bar just right there. Like they went above and beyond. How did you? Because I mean, you have to have Bambi themselves, and that's a challenge effects wise. And now you have all the kills and the gore and the blood, and you guys went to such lengths with these kills. What were some of the challenges working with that? Because I agree, if I would have sat down and not looked into this at all, I would say, okay, this movie probably had like 2 million, $1.5 million, that to that degree. What were the challenges there, and how the hell did you do it?
I mean, I'm sure Spencer will tell me if I can, or I don't think I can talk about the budget. Probably not. I don't know, but it was less. It was less than that. Can I say that, Spencer?
I would avoid specific figures, but
we don't need that. Terms.
Okay, but it was less. So real tight to do it on like low budget, especially with CGI. CGI is infamously so expensive.
Good CGI too, especially.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So it was about doing everything we could to elevate it, and to get out of our own way in a way, right? Like, and that comes down to how are we going to shoot it? How can we shoot it in a way that's going to really help the CGI? Speaking to the CGI team, so Ryan and Stephanie Belgar, who they're sort of their company Boiling Point Media, they did all the main creature effects. We had another team in India that were doing a lot of the supporting visual effects in the film, but all the sort of creature work was done by Boiling Point, and they we had long chats with them. We would Zoom them on set as well and just be like, is there anything more we can do? Which you don't really have time for on those sort of shoots. But if we had a challenge, we would speak to them to make sure that we were getting it right. But we'd do it during lunchtime, you know what I mean? So we'd never lose like a second of filming. And they sent us, they literally posted to the UK one of those like 3D cameras. So we'd get a 3D map of every single scene. So they had a full map of everything so they could match the lighting perfectly to every single shot. And we did single source lighting. We literally completely ripped off how they lit Jurassic Park 1 so that we could copy or emulate their success in a way, because that's some of the earliest CGI creatures, and it still holds up as some of the best. That T-Rex especially is all nighttime single source lighting from the side. It's generally backlit. And we were like, well, if that worked for them, why shouldn't that work for us now with a fraction of the budget? But what we have is modern technology. So we've got modern technology, same lighting principles, but yeah, modern technology. And we think that's sort of what really helps the CGI and sort of blend it in. It's just about making shots that are atmospheric, you know. The moment you shine a light directly at the creature, it's always going to fall apart much quicker. So it's about backlighting it and getting that fringe light, you know, where you can sort of see the edge of the fur. That's when it feels the most immersive and realistic. Now, there's some shots where we just can't avoid it, just based on how the certain scenes are lit. But for the most part, as much as possible, it's always back or side lit, which is sort of what you do with monsters anyway. But it's especially helpful for CGI as well.
Yeah, wow. The balls of you guys, honestly. And that's such a compliment to look at something like Jurassic Park, you know, not having Jurassic Park money to make this movie and applying that is genius. And I think as viewers, because, you know, I've never made a movie. I don't know shit about shit. And a lot of viewers don't. You don't think about those things, the back and forths and the people who aren't on the set and how you have to think forward in such a degree to be able to help them do what they do. And that is awesome to hear. I did just watch Jurassic Park recently too. And
the new one?
No, I watched the original to prep for the new one.
And
man, do they hold up. It is incredible. And
it's mental.
Yeah. And to see you guys take that in those same elements into 2025 and use them, that's really awesome. You mentioned earlier the story and how you added on to that. What goes into, because you're taking one of the most innocent stories ever written, and you're making it absolute batshit, which horror fans love, but that's got to be a challenge to as a creator and working on this project. What was kind of your mentality going into that, taking something so innocent and all right, let's make it as brutal as possible?
You know, I always try to think about the experience and sort of how we want the audience to feel. And obviously we need them to feel terrified. We knew that the woods would be in our favor as well, and that would operate as its own character. And it could almost be, you know, a bit like how Jaws, the shark, had the ocean. We knew that Bambi would have the forest as this sort of dark space to hide it in the shadows. So we knew we just wanted it to be this sort of threat that could be out there, but also when it was there, it was just as scary. So it would be just as scary when you can't see it as when you could see it. You know, some monsters don't work the moment you pull them out of the shadows, but Bambi, we think, does work even out the shadows because it's visually terrifying to look at, but also its size. When you have a creature that's that big and imposing, it's a bit like, you know, velociraptors and T-Rexes, they're still scary in daytime because they are just these big monstrous creatures that can tear you apart. Whereas if it's a ghost, all it's really got is, you know, the ability to say boo, which is much scarier at night than it is during the day. So something like this, we knew it needed to be big and scary. So we wanted to design it in a way that was uncanny, you know, it was familiar. It still felt like a deer. It kind of looked like a deer, but it also had these mutations. And it also had all these wounds on it. You know, you knew it had been through a lot and had still kept going. But also its legs bent slightly the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's neck, and it has there's the back with what's it called, the spine which is starting to like spike out as well. Like it's all sort of slightly jumbled up, so it's almost a deer, but it's not anymore. And that sort of almost familiarity, I think, is effective. And then and then it carries through to sound as well. We wanted it to feel big and heavy, so the sound design's got to make it feel big and heavy, but also it can be fast and nimble and agile when it wants to be as well. Like it's a very powerful predator. So performance also played a big part. So, like Stephanie, when she first sent the first like test animation, it was moving like a deer, and we sort of worked together to be like, it can't really do that because if it moves like a deer, it's not very scary. It's very sort of gangly and sort of all over the place. This needs to just set its sights on you and charge at you. Like this is going to move like a predator, not like a prey. So it moves actually far more like a bull that sort of knows it wants to take someone out, or like a lion than it does move like a deer. So it's sort of all these things and elements, its performance, its sound, its lighting, its aesthetics, that are sort of creating a scary vision that we want to, that we're using to create this experience for the audience.
Yeah, you almost have to make it like the challenge from the viewer standpoint is, you look at it and you go, how the hell did they make this thing? You almost have to make it a deer, but also deform it. I don't know if that's the right word, but enough to make it just bring that terrifying level to a whole other one. You being a true horror fan, was there anything that you could look at as making Bambi the Reckoning that you were able to pull? Were there any inspirations from other horror films that you feel you grabbed the tones from here?
Ooh. Yeah, so obviously one of the references that we had was The Ritual as well.
Oh yeah.
Which is a more recent film, because that has that sort of, it's the closest we've had to a deer horror creature in a way, although that creature is far more mythical than ours, but it sort of is a four-legged creature. So that was cool, and we knew that looked good in silhouette. So that was a big influence, and that also was a modern example of a good forest that was being used for a horror landscape. Although theirs again was a lot more daytime stuff. So that was a big influence. Obviously, there's lots of little nods in there as well. There's a jacket that's sort of a reference to two things. So Benji wears this sort of yellowish jacket, which is both a reference to obviously It. But it's also a reference to Dark, which is one of my favorite TV shows. That's sort of very moody German sci-fi horror show, which I love. So that's in there. But Jurassic Park, I mean, is the big thing. I always say that Bambi is kind of just it's Jurassic Park with a deer. So it's sort of leaning into those family horrors because it's got a family at its heart. That felt like the right thing to do. So it has this sort of, and especially, you're switching between these vantage points at times. It's very much Zana's film, but it's also Benji's film as well. And they both go through these big journeys. So because of that, it then becomes a family film, but it's an R-rated family film, if that makes sense. It's not, it's not for children, to be very clear, but they're your sort of viewpoint into the film. So that's why Jurassic Park was a big influence, but then we sort of dial it up to 11. You get a few people eaten in Jurassic Park, but you don't have people like ripped off with their heads ripped off and loads of blood falling down. You don't have people with their ribs completely crushed, or those are the things that you don't have in that. Arms snapping, necks more visibly breaking, like all of that being gored in half as well. Like none of that's in Jurassic Park like it is in our film. So it's sort of take those reference effects. And knowing we wanted to do like a Spielbergian horror and embody all of that visual kinetic energy of all the camera movements. We wanted to take all of that, but then really dial it up and make it at home in the Poohniverse with the sort of the gore and the kills.
And that's awesome. And here's a question that I sitting down watching it, even kind of going into it. You see the trailer and you just think, kind of plain sight, oh, okay, Bambi killing people, got it. But watching it, it was so interesting what you guys are able to do. Was this something that you had in mind going in? Because it's a question from sitting down and viewing. Do you see Bambi as the villain in this? Because watching it, Bambi's kind of not. Was that anything that you guys had in mind when creating this film and the story and everything else?
For sure, for sure. I mean, we wanted the catharsis of Bambi killing hunters. We knew that that would be the moment you say Bambi horror film, I mean, everyone sort of just immediately guessed it would be Bambi killing all these hunters, right? Which is
right.
Felt almost inevitable. But then at the same time, you had to have these human characters to latch onto as well. I think it wouldn't have been super compelling to have just loads of, and also too expensive to just directly follow Bambi the whole time. And you need to create a vehicle, like a film in which you can shift perspectives, because by having a vehicle where you can shift perspectives, it means you can be like, okay, now we're going to be scared because this character is scared because they think something is out there. So it creates a far more immersive experience when you can sort of go, okay, this person's in danger. So let's go and put ourselves in that person's shoes for the time being. But then sort of for the kill itself, you can almost shift over and be in Bambi's slight indulgent perspective as it sort of rips them apart. So the perspective is what sort of changes a lot to sort of incorporate all these different elements. But it still needed that human heart and that human journey to go on as well.
Yeah.
And that's when you get your Zana, Benji, and also Mary, the grandmother as well, that are where we spend most of our emotional energy. But then we never wanted to lose sight of Bambi as well. But also to take the viewers on the journey. It's not something like Bambi's the main character now. Like Bambi, very much, beyond the opening animation where you set up the backstory, how we feel about Bambi very much depends on how Benji and Zana feel about Bambi. So their opinion on Bambi, without giving too much away, is obviously massively shifted at the end. So we put more emotional weight behind Bambi and Bambi's journey in sort of those last few scenes in the film, once we sort of understand it more, and once Benji and Zana understand it more. So it's about sort of utilizing perspective to sort of shape our understanding and what it is that we're taking away from each scene, basically.
Yeah, and I really wanted to bring that up to you because I feel like it's a very important point to your film, because a lot of horror fans, and maybe more so casuals, I'm not sure, but they go into it and they just want to see the kills and they just see a creature and they think, okay, bad guy. And you guys were able to create such a story around this creature. And the original story of Bambi, everyone feels terrible. It's the saddest thing in the world. And you guys were able to bring that in and then morph it to even kind of recreate a Bambi story, and do that all over again with much darker tones. And I just don't want people to go in, enjoy the blood and guts. Absolutely. That's phenomenal. But I want people to be able to appreciate the story, because you guys did something really special with that.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope so too.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned the Poohniverse. Obviously, that's it's so weird what you guys have been able to create. Like, it's something that the genre has never really truly seen. And the Poohniverse is growing. You have obviously the Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey movies, Peter Pan, Bambi the Reckoning. There's a bunch of other things that have been talked about, rumored, and everything else. Where are you guys looking to? Obviously, not asking you to spoil anything or anything like that, but how big do you see this, and how long is the road? Like, is this something that you guys want to continue, not only with Bambi, but, because obviously there's a lot of meat on that story, no pun intended, but are you looking at other properties to be able to do this with?
Yeah, I mean, definitely always looking and talking about the other stuff as well. I've been very sort of blessed and enjoyed working with Scott and Reese, and I've really appreciated them sort of bringing me on as part of this sort of like crazy Poohniverse team and family. And it's really nice. It's a lot of us. It's the same people on every single film, same sound team. Vince, who's sort of been the DOP on all of them as well. So it's really been a special to be a part of. I mean, we were always sort of floating around ideas on set. I mean, we would constantly go up to each other and be like, what about this? I'm pretty sure I suggested that Pooh should ride Bambi during the edit of Pooh 2. And next thing I knew, that was on the concept poster that they got made. So I'm sort of proud to have contributed that image to the Poohniverse, which has become quite iconic. Although maybe they were thinking about that already as well. But yeah, I mean, Poohniverse is going to be mental, as you say. I don't think there's been anything like it in horror. There's been crossovers, which have been cool. We've had like Freddy versus Jason. We've had, like the Predator and Alien crossovers, but they're very much like one film meets another. There's not been a
Right.
collective like this coming together. And it really is going to bring both the heroes and the villains, which is going to be really cool. I mean, the short answer, the Pinocchio is in edit, so I'm literally editing that
Right.
tomorrow. I'm working on it, so that's really cool. And that's another fun tonal shift as well. So if you thought sort of Pooh 2 was fun and campy, this is sort of on another level. It's definitely the funniest one. But also got some awesome kills and deaths in it. But the I think we've all got ambitions beyond the Poohniverse, is what I would say. We all want to do other horror
Right.
films, and we want to do other, we just want to tell the films on like the biggest scale we can. But also, I think we all love the Poohniverse and sort of what it is. So I think it'll go on as long as people buy tickets and watch it and support it, because I think we've got loads of ideas. I know that they've got ideas for a Poohniverse 2 already. I think we've had very loose chats about what could happen in a Bambi sequel. No guarantees of like who would be writing and directing any of these, but
Right.
just from like a pure creative output perspective, we've loved sort of toying around with what could happen. I've certainly pitched a couple of concepts as well, which was sort of concept stage, but we're sort of, it's an element of, we know that we're doing Pinocchio and Poohniverse, but we're waiting to see what happens. So it also depends
Right.
on making sure that bums go on seats and people watch it. So, I think if you want to see more, you vote with your ticket, and it will come. And I think what we can promise is that
What if everything you've been taught about happiness is wrong? We chase careers, approval, more stuff, hoping it'll finally make us feel fulfilled, but it never sticks. What if happiness isn't out there, but already inside you, just waiting to be unlocked? Discover the book, The Happiness Experiment. Every person has a unique happiness type, and when you understand yours, everything shifts. You'll stop chasing and start creating joy on your own terms. Discover your happiness type with a free happiness type assessment. Go to myhappinnesstype.com. That's myhappinnesstype.com. It takes just a minute and it might change your life. Then grab your copy of The Happiness Experiment at Books A Million. This isn't just a book, it's a practical framework, a journey inward. It's a tool to help you reconnect with the happiness that's been waiting inside you all along. Pick up The Happiness Experiment and start your happiness experiment today.
and I think this is what always surprises people when they watch them. There's real energy, heart, and passion in all of these films.
Yes.
None of them are lazy, which I think is what people expect, is just a really lazy film. I know that Reese wasn't very happy with Pooh 1, because Pooh 1, they didn't expect it to be so big. They really wanted to reshoot lots of it, and they did do some pickups, but it very much was like they had so little money, so they had so little time. So I think that one was slightly more rushed, but all the other ones, we've had slightly more resources, and I emphasize on very slightly, but it's enough to give us more time and energy to really put that extra layer of care in, and I think that will continue happening. So the more people see these, the more love and passion will go into the future ones, is what I would say.
Yeah, and that's kind of the end all be all of it. Really, I mean, movies are great and we love to watch them, but they are a business at the end of the day. We've seen that with Megan 2.0 recently, where like there's a lot of questions about that now. And I think that's a tribute to you guys behind the camera, because the idea is great. Everyone hears Winnie the Pooh and Bambi and Pinocchio and doing all this crazy shit. But if you go and watch the movie and it's not good, that's where it's going to end, and you guys keep raising the bar, and that's why the interest is still there and they're still being done 100%. It's awesome that you said you were editing the Pinocchio film.
Yeah. So I was on set editing that one, because I also edited Peter Pan as well, and edited Bambi, obviously, and I co-edited Pooh 2. So I've been involved as an editor in lots of these films, but then obviously, directed Bambi and edited it. Pinocchio I cut on set. Then Reese has had some time with it, but he's also been busy with other projects. And now I'm back on it, going over his changes, because we're not in the same city at the moment. They're currently in Manchester, so we're sort of remote editing. But it's really cool, and coming together, very nicely.
So you were on set. That's even better. Robert Englund has a role in that. Did you have any interaction with him? And you guys, that's kind of the first. I mean, these movies are bloody, gory, very well done, and way better than they had any business. On paper when you hear what you hear. But now you're pulling in a horror icon for one of these. Like, what's that like? And did you have any interactions with Englund?
No, because he's doing the voice, so he wasn't on set. I know, it was gutting. But I did, obviously, was it Todd Masters who created the original Chucky puppet? He was on set.
Right.
Because he's made the Pinocchio puppet. So he was there most days. So I was actually stationed with the puppet team a lot of the time because I was going through reference shots and I was going through, this is where Pinocchio is going to be, because they were doing pickup shots the whole time. So they were either on set puppeteering Pinocchio. There was literally a team of like 5 people all puppeteering him. It was crazy. Wow. Sometimes more people than that, because you had 2 people remote controlling the face, 1 person doing the mouth and also doing the voice. In fact, it was the guy who played Peter Pan was on set puppeteering the mouth of Pinocchio and also
holy shit,
also voicing him. So yeah, there's a version of the film where it's got Peter Pan's voice, but it's him doing a different voice. But it's quite good fun, and he did such a good job with that. Literally within like 24 hours, he had mastered puppeteering the face.
Damn,
he just really sort of got it. But yeah, they had a whole team of really amazing people bringing that to life. So that was a real honor, actually, to work alongside Todd, as he sort of, I mean, the design for Pinocchio is so cool. I think there's been some images out. So that was really cool. And I think it's Richard Frake. I don't want to get that wrong. Who he played. Oh my god, got his name wrong. He played the Night King. Oh, Richard Brake. Damn it.
Oh, right. Yeah, we both should have known that. Yeah.
But he plays Geppetto in this, and he was the Night King in Game of Thrones. So that was super cool. Although I never got a chance to ask him about Game of Thrones. We were too busy talking about yoga and more lame things, I guess. But yeah, so that was really cool for me personally. And funnily enough, I'd actually was on a short film that he was starring in. I was shadowing a director called Rob Savage, who was sort of my mentor over the last year. So he directed Boogeyman and Host. Do you remember the Zoom horror film that came out during lockdown?
Very good.
So he was my mentor over like the last year or so. And he did a short film with Richard Brake. And then literally like a month later, I was back on set with Richard Brake. And but in the Poohniverse. So yeah, that was quite funny.
Richard Brake, one of the unsung heroes of the genre, honestly. I love him. You mentioned
he's great in Barbarian as well, isn't he?
And he's great in everything he does. Rob Zombie stuff, and love Richard Brake. But you mentioned speaking with your ticket, and that's obviously very important for a lot of different reasons. But I think very important in that is you guys are getting into theaters. And we spoke with a couple of people from the Terrifier franchise. We spoke with Adam Green recently, and he had his battles with the MPAA, with Hatchet and everything. And it's almost like you guys are getting in on that fight to get these movies into theaters, because it was, movies like this, Terrifier, Hatchet, they never had a chance once upon a time. And now you guys are breaking that boundary. And what does it feel like to be part of that battle?
I mean, personally, just sort of really surreal. I almost don't believe it until I go and buy a ticket and see my film in the cinema. Part of me doesn't believe it. It was, I mean, it's super exciting, even buying a ticket to see Pooh 2 in cinemas was amazing. I actually took my parents, and they had the best time. They'd watched Pooh 1 the night before to sort of get into the spirit, and they really enjoyed it. It was great. But just being able to go and buy popcorn and see your own film is just such a special milestone, I guess. I
bet,
especially I want to make more and more cinema films. I make films for the big screen. Like even the films that I've done on smaller budgets, I'm still thinking about that big screen experience, and trying to shape something that feels as big, immersive, and loud as possible. So I think it's amazing. I think the better these films do, the more variety we'll end up seeing in cinemas. Especially in today's world where the studios want safe bets, right? They want to know they're going to spend this much on this film, it's probably going to make this much. They don't want the uncertainty. So we've sort of gone on the days of almost like the 80s and early 90s where you had all this like random new films. We just don't have that so much. But I think that's the beauty of horror. There's such an amazing fan base and listenership, or viewership rather, like that it makes it more possible. And it also provides the opportunity to, launch careers and really sort of transform people's lives, but also to keep reinventing cinema in a way and keep it exciting. Because when you have budget limitations as well, it forces you to be really creative in response to the challenges that you face. So I think the more films that we allow the opportunity of success to, the more I think experimentation and playing around with the genre that we will see, which I think is only going to sort of be better for horror lovers and for cinema as well. What was that really cool film recently where it sort of followed? It was from the perspective of the killer. It was a slasher film. Do you know the one? It was on Shudder. I think they funded it. I can't remember what it was called. But like that was super, super weird. I mean, it will probably never happen again unless they make a sequel. But like, just really cool to actually do it and go and see something really original.
Yeah.
And if it was any other genre, that would not have been in the cinema. So yeah, I think it's really cool. It's nice that it's not just the big blockbusters, but this is more of a thing in like Malaysia and South America. This happens more often. So it's a shame that it doesn't happen in the West so much. Like it definitely doesn't happen in the UK. Like we're still waiting to find out if it's going to get a cinema release in the UK. We don't know, which is a real shame because, we shot it over here. But it also is very much an American production as well, with ITN involved. And it wouldn't happen, without them. So it's amazing that it's coming out of America. And yeah, I'm super excited. And I think it's exciting for the genre, but also for cinema as well. And I think the more people are educated and understand to expect different things at different price points, I guess, or different budget points, then people can love everything for what it has to offer. And just because it's like cheaper doesn't mean it's going to be stupid. That's just going to be awesome in a different way. So yeah, I just hope more people go and see and support these films as much as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've seen that is very true. Lower budgets does not equal, because I've seen movies with a lot of money behind them that are very stupid. Absolutely. And 100%. No, you're right, because obviously you have to look at it from your personal career point where this could do well for you and everyone involved in the project. But even the bigger picture where this says a lot for film in general and growing that, that availability to these. And that's so important. And you guys are part of that now, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's really exciting. Genuinely, what did I see recently that really excited me? There was a Japan trailer, a trailer from Japan. It was just such a cool trailer. It's literally like 15 seconds long. It's just one of the coolest things I've seen. Is just seeing this trailer of, our film in Japanese, and really sort of interestingly cut as well. So yeah, it's just awesome seeing your film sort of travel and go out there and build up hype. It's super cool. It's super cool. And it's definitely providing a platform for everyone involved to sort of go on and do other stuff as well. Like, and I'm talking about everyone in like all the different crews positions, so it's tremendously exciting, and I think we're all super grateful to be a part of this sort of moment in horror, like in British horror as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I had another question about the Poohniverse, and obviously for everybody listening to this, you mentioned it earlier too. A lot of this stuff is in the concept phase and nothing's in stone. I mean, I would imagine with things like this, even you guys who are involved in making it don't have, any concrete idea of what's exactly coming next, down the road and everything, because you're still creating these movies part of this universe. Is at least you personally, do you want to see a world where the Poohniverse truly comes together? Because you guys, the thing that I can kind of link it to the best is kind of like Marvel. You know, they have all these movies, and
100%,
they,
yeah.
right, they eventually had them come together for whatever those movies were called. But
Yeah.
not a superhero guy. But is there a world where you would love to see Winnie the Pooh, Bambi, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, all in one film somehow, some way? Has that ever crossed your mind that something you would love to see and do?
Oh, it's happening. I think there's a draft of the scripts. Like, yeah. The whole Poohniverse Monsters Assemble, which I mean, the title I think is incredibly derivative and maybe needs its own unique title. But it the concept for that is not just a concept. I mean, they've been toying around with the story of that for ages. I've sort of fed in a little bit, but it's very much Scott and Reese's baby. And I think Reese is intending to direct it. Originally, it was going to start shooting May this year, but they wanted more time to develop it. So I think it could start shooting as early as end of this year, but if not, it'll be sometime first half of next year, as I imagine when it will start filming. But again, as long as people see Bambi and
Right.
Pinocchio, but that's the plan. Yeah, it's going ahead. And there's going to be some additional characters as well. So characters that haven't been in these individual films that are going to be in that film too. So there's going to be some new members of the Poohniverse that I think people will be very excited to see, and it'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, how much of each character will be in it, we'll see. But it's going to have the good guys as well. So there's the heroes of these films are going to be in Poohniverse as well.
Yeah, I did see the monsters assemble. I forget when. But again, you never know. You know, you just absolutely never know. It's good to know that is still something you guys are passionate about and aiming for, because these movies are based around essentially batshit. You know, like you never know what's going to happen. It's going to be a wild ride, and just strap in and enjoy it. And it's perfect. But like that sounds like the ultimate chaos. And I'm here for that.
No, it's definitely mental. I mean, it's pretty insane. And again, this is why I like the fact that each of the films they're all a bit different from each other, right? And is that you sort of have a rough sense of what you're going to get, but you're going to get a different kind of movie each time. And having a team up horror movie introduces so many challenges in terms of perspective as well, and where you spread your time and your energy. You know, there's a reason why the Avengers films are all almost 3 hours, because it takes a lot to sort of invest in each of those characters and tell it in a compelling way. But then it also needs to be scary. And if you spend too much time with all your horror characters, are they going to be scary? Can you keep them in the shadows longer? You know, there's so many creative steps to solve to make sure it's effective, and not just they're not doing it to be a cash grab. They're doing it to be an awesome crossover movie, you know? And they want it to be the most awesome film it can be. And the story they've got for it, I think, is going to be really cool and really exciting. And I think the action will be dialed up. I think it's still going to have the horror, it's still going to have the gore, but it's going to have like an action adventure edge to it as well. So again, we'll have something different to the other films too. And yeah, I like the idea that no matter which one you see, you're going to get a slightly different flavor of horror, but horror nonetheless, which I think is exciting. It's like if you put all of these films on back to back, it's a bit like having like a playlist or like a mixtape in music, where it's like it's all songs of the same genre, but they're all different songs. I think that's what this feels like in a way, in like a really cool way.
Awesome. Nice. 3 hours confirmed for the Monsters Assemble. I'm just joking.
No. I don't think it will be. But it will be cool though. It will be cool. It will almost definitely be longer than the others, I would have thought. But we'll see. I can't make promises.
No, definitely not. I did have one last question for you though, Dan. And this is kind of like we've been talking about a lot throughout this discussion, just the future of all these things. And have you had any thought, or was there any talk of any thought of maybe pushing these films into other medias? Because we're partnered with a couple of different gaming companies, and I'm not sure how much of a gamer you are yourself, but there's always, especially now, there's the IPs are so valuable in these games. And how would you feel about someone approaching you saying, hey, we want to put, I guess Dead by Daylight would be the best example. They have so many horror properties. We want Bambi the Reckoning in Dead by Daylight. Is that something that you would love to see, or is there different forms of media?
I think that would be the coolest thing ever. Genuinely, I'm not even joking. I do game, not as much as I used to. Nowadays, when I sort of put on my PlayStation, I very much end up either putting on FIFA, like a football game, or Call of Duty, as just sort of like a put it on for 10 minutes type energy. But I do play a bit of the what was it? I'm halfway through Star Wars Jedi Survivor, I think, or Fallen Order. I haven't gotten to Survivor yet. So I like those. I used to play a bit of the Resident Evils, but I used to terrify myself. I had Resident Evil 4 on the Wii. I played loads on my Xbox as well, but Resident Evil 4 on the Wii was like like a rehash of the game. And I'd go out into the garage and put it on the TV, and it was so immersive because obviously you're actually physically pointing the gun, so it was like playing an arcade game. And I just had all the lights off by myself, and it was horrifying. I could only do it a couple of times. It was too immersive. But yeah, some kind of survival game where you just got to like run through the forest, no weapons. You've just got to somehow make it through the forest, and there's some creatures there, maybe some smaller creatures in there as well. And yeah, trying to avoid Bambi would be absolutely wicked. But maybe you got a torch and stuff. I would love to see. If you got any contacts, put me in touch. I'll get involved for sure. That'd be cool.
Yeah. It's weird because I'm starting to get into, I guess it's multiplayer. I don't know. I'm traditionally like a Dead by Daylight, Texas Chainsaw multiplayer, like that asymmetrical feel. I started playing Sons of the Forest recently, which is more of a single player kind of feel, but it's not. That would be incredible to see, like a Bambi edition of Sons of the Forest or whatever, where you have this creature now and something to link it to the films, and everybody can grow. Like different forms of media, and those crossovers are so valuable nowadays. But yeah, I could put you in touch. Absolutely.
That'd be wicked. Yeah, no, it looks cool. I just Googled it. I think that's exactly the sort of game. Yeah, it's just one of those like hardcore survival games.
Yeah.
Where you're sort of stranded and then yeah, having the creature element I think would be super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, thank you so much for your time, man. We appreciate the hell out of you for joining us.
Oh no, thanks for having me.
Oh, no, the pleasure is all mine. Bambi the Reckoning, I believe it's in theaters. July 25th is the official release date, 5 days before my birthday. Yeah, so guys, pretty good timing there.
Oh, nice.
But let everybody know where they can get in touch with you. Anything else they need to know. We'll have all the information for the film and the details of this, so no one has an excuse to not see it. So let everybody know.
Perfect. Man. Yeah, it's danallenfilms.com. Or Dan Allen Films on like Instagram and all the sort of social medias. Well, not really TikTok. I feel like I should get on that for the release. But you can find me everywhere.
I'm not a TikTok fan myself.
No, that's part of it. So, I don't know. I know I'd need to come up with loads of content to post if I'm going to go on it. So I think I've just resisted. Whereas with Instagram, it feels like you can sort of curate your wall and then run away. So that's sort of my main use of social media. And then posting a story of something to do with Bambi all the time. That's the angle, basically.
Smart man.
So yeah, Dan Allen Films. Give me a follow, drop me a message. I get quite a lot of great messages of people suggesting different IP to twist. So yeah, if you've got any other thoughts, let me know. And also, I would love to hear what people liked and didn't like about Bambi. So let me know. Reach out.
Nice. Thank you so much, man, for your time. Spencer, always as well. Thank you, dude. I appreciate the hell out of you guys for including us and letting us talk about this. This is great.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having us.
All right, that was an awesome conversation. Everybody, don't forget the video version of this interview will be up on Patreon. We will not be putting it up on YouTube. It will be clipped out a couple of things and you will get to see bits and pieces of it. But if you want to see the video version of this interview, Patreon's the spot. Patreon.com//radio. Everybody knows how I feel typically about the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget when we were talking to Adam Green a couple weeks ago, Bambi The Reckoning came up and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, the Poohniverse came up. I even said then, and I've always said, even though a movie might not be for me, I can respect the work that was put into it, the levels that were achieved that you wouldn't expect to be achieved, and also what they are doing for the genre. That comes up about Terrifier a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, what did you think of Bambi the Reckoning?
I really enjoyed it. I've been impressed by all of these movies. You know that. I'm not saying these are award-winning movies, but I think they've all been better than they should have been. My thing with the Bambi movie is I enjoyed it as a creature movie. I'm not sure that it needed to be called Bambi, other than they wanted to fit it into this universe, which is fine with me. I had fun with it. I think it's a fun movie.
Yeah. Honestly, I enjoyed it more than the Winnie the Pooh movies. I watched some of the Peter Pan. I haven't watched the whole thing. I think that was one cast that I fell asleep on, me being old as shit too.
Old man.
But again, these movies are able to they're able to get themselves into theater, which is very important, obviously, but also other movies into theaters, horror movies that people wouldn't have eyes on otherwise, and they're kind of in the middle of fighting that fight that, we've talked about so many times on the show, the Terrifiers and the Hatchets and all these movies too. But as far as the film itself, it was fun to see such a creature, because that's what it is. And you would think the same of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, but those are more slashers. They come across as actual, almost as people.
Yeah.
And especially that first one, very much for the visuals of it, gave you that feel. This was a creature that was made super well. I'm talking really, really well. And you get to see this creature destroy humanity. And they tied in a story and they made it mean something. And you're going to sit down and see a bunch of incredible kills and effects that are done, both practical and CGI. Obviously, it's a creature movie. You're going to see really awesome kills. I don't know what more you want from a horror movie.
No, I agree. I really enjoyed it.
No, me too. All right. So next week is my birthday pick.
Oh, are you going to announce it now, or are you going to wait?
I'm going to wait.
Okay. Sometimes we announce them ahead of time,
Should announce it now.
We do announce them ahead of time. I know. To be honest, though, I haven't landed on anything, and I just kind of started thinking about it recently. Okay. And we're also doing an episode ahead of time.
We are.
Yeah, in my fairness. It will be announced on Patreon and maybe on Twitter. Maybe we'll just I don't know.
You're going to have to tell me what it is, because I don't know. I don't have access to the Patreon.
God.
Can you believe him?
Did we start a drinking game that every time Rob says he doesn't have access to something, we take a drink?
We'd be fucked up. Our pinned conversation in our group chat is literally everything Rob says he doesn't have access to. It's pinned for easy access.
True.
I don't know how to read that.
The image is a fucking pin.
Do I have to scroll all the way to the top? I ain't scrolling through all that bullshit all the way up there.
That's the beauty of when it's pinned. You can press the fucking pin and see it right there.
Yeah, Rob, I made it easy for you.
I don't know. I don't know nothing about no pin.
I'm gonna put a pin in your ass.
Pins in the chat.
God damn it. All right. Everybody go see Winnie the Pooh. Everybody go see Bambi the Reckoning tomorrow when this episode drops.
Yeah, because I don't know what the release schedule looks like for that movie, but the other ones have had very limited releases where they're only in theaters for a few days. So go see it when you get a chance, because it might be gone before you get another.
Yeah, that's true. And you're like I said, you're going to get awesome kills. You're going to get a true horror movie, and you're supporting indie horror. That is very important here. Obviously seeing their project and all their hard work that they put into it, that's very important as well. I'm not overshadowing that, obviously, but these movies are a little divisive, you should go see it, and we're telling you will have a good time seeing. Is the beauty of it all. So win. No R's and no chats.
Yeah, there'll be R's in the chat. Don't worry about that.
I was gonna say, put B's in the chat for Bambi.
Bees in the chat. Bees.
Bees in the chat.
Did you, Cass? Did you literally just send me a picture of a circled pin? Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with that?
It's just showing you where it is. I'm just making your life easy, man.
I don't see it on the screen anywhere. I don't see one single pin.
It's circled.
I don't know what the
it's
hell you guys are
literally
talking
circled.
about. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. I don't have access to anything.
Probably, I don't know about this damn witchcraft here. I don't know.
Old man.
Make sure you subscribe to us on everything, wherever you're listening now, whether it be iTunes, Spotify, wherever this damn podcast goes. We're also on YouTube. You can subscribe to us there.
Ours in the chat.
At Slasher Radio on YouTube and everything else, Twitter included. You can follow. These are all good places to find out what's coming next because A, things change. B, podcast time is in the future and the future changes, especially with as busy as we've been with interviews and everything. Shit's getting pushed around and, we're trying our best to manage it, but those are the best ways to keep up to date. Discord as well. It's a good spot too. I'm at Mikey's Dead. Robert?
You can find me online, Radio Rob123. You can listen to the other show that I do, the Nick fucking Woo Cagecast, which you can listen to wherever you are listening to Slash Radio. It's Nick effing Woo Cagecast in your podcast player.
Why do you continue to lie to people? If you say you can find you at Radio Rob123 online, that means the whole internet is not true. Tell them except for TikTok.
Everybody go to TikTok, go find Radio Rob123 and harass him.
Put R's in the chat.
You are inciting.
He is impersonating a celebrity, and it is not right.
Oh, God.
Dear Lord. All right. What was I doing?
I don't know.
Just distracted by life.
Yeah, by you. Fucking, God damn it. Cass, where are they finding you?
I am Makeup X Mistress.
Hell of a deal.
On all platforms.
Was that so hard? Look at that. I'm proud of you. Good job. Nice.
It was hard. Leave me alone.
All right, guys. We have my birthday pick next week. You're not going to want to miss it. Good night from Slasher Radio. Whew.
Ours in the chat.
All the best of Slasher Radio podcast.